Hi and welcome back to another video of JPlay. I am Marcus and yes, today it's all about Age of Galaxy, more or less the spiritual successor to Age of Civilization, which are also covered on the channel. You could say there are some very mild similarities to Age of Civilization, but then again it's really a very unique game. The only thing, I believe, the box size is more or less the same. Apart from that, it's really a game on its own. So really you get an awful lot of game within a very contained box, let's put it like this. And like Age of Civilization, there is a solo mode in this game as well. So there is this solo card here. This is the one I will cover today, spoilers here, but there is also a whole bunch of scenarios that the designers made available, I think 5 or so, which you can go through as well, which makes the game a little bit more intriguing. So there is some sort of a, let's say, mild AI, but in this, let's say, introductory solos variant here, you're basically trying to beat your own score. There isn't even a table or so which tells you how well you did or so. So I will more or less use it now to learn the game. Those spoilers here, I haven't played the game before, and depending on your interest, I might then really go for one of the other scenarios. Just let me know. I already have prepared everything for a two-player game. That's basically what you are simulating here. So here on the right side we have the AI opponent. They're starting with 2 of these, I believe, cruisers or so, battleships they are called. They're not really scoring any points. They're just here to annoy us. They might be taking away some of the planets. They might taking away some of the slots in here. But apart from that, again, I'm more or less against myself. There is a good amount of, let's say, randomization in respect to setup. First of all, you have a random setup for these trade cards here. Overall, there are 5 of those. You shuffle them and you bring out 3 of them in a random order. So even the order will matter. On top of this, the galaxy will look a little bit different each time you're playing. There are 8 of these tabloids in the box. You shuffle them, you bring them out. In some of the solo scenarios there is a defined setup, but here in the normal solo variant, again, we are simulating a 2-player game. It's totally random, so I have no clue what's below those 3 ones, so they will get uncovered throughout the game. And I think last but not least, all the players will start the game with 7 random civilization cards here, more or less. You get some kind of a mulligan, something that I already did. I think you are allowed to discard 3 of those. I think these are the ones you see up here, and then draw up to 7 again. And that's basically it. From what I know, there are no effects in the game that give you more of these cards. There could be whatever special abilities on one of these civilizations. I think these are 40 different civilizations, and that's more or less, that's the, I think, very similar part to Age of Civilization, where you also have a ton of different cultures which you can play. They all play very differently, even though it's only a very minor, let's say, asymmetry that's being added here. Something that really works very well also in the successor, but seems to work quite all right here in this game as well. Then as part of setup, you have to choose your main civilization, and ultimately I decided to go for the Celestavis, and we get now basically, that's their more or less starting bonus. So we are getting 2 more coins, I take it, and we are bringing out our first again, cruiser or so. We have in total, I believe, 9 of those. Your hand limit, you typically have them on your hand, is 5. The remaining 4 of those might be then somewhere out in the universe throughout the game. Apart from that, one other information that is important, or 2 other informations that are important on these cards. First of all, there is the adaptation. So these are the planets our main culture feel comfortable. These are the planets that we can take over. And ultimately we also have an ideology, and an ideology more or less gives you a direction to score some extra points at the end of the game, depending on your major ideology. So right now our major ideology is diplomacy here, because that's the majority of icons that we have. Throughout the game we can play up to 2 more of these main factions, so they will work for us. But this could then also change the major ideology. A worst case really would be that all of these ideology are different, then we don't have a major ideology, which means we are not really scoring some extra points. But there are also ways around that, because we can more or less override our major ideology if we see fit. But then therefore we have to play another one of our very, very valuable cards, because again, these 6 cards in our hand, that's it. As usual, I will explain the game as I go, and I think we are more or less good to go. So let's get cracking here. We are directly starting with our so-called production phase. So we are taking 3 action cubes. So these are the actions that we have available. Then we get some income, basically equal to our current production, which is currently 3. So we are getting 3 more coins, and then yeah, we are losing 1 productivity. So we really have to actively work for that in order to gain stuff. And then we gain any, I think, activation ability. Unfortunately, we don't have any one of those on our main faction here. And looking at our hand of cards, I believe there aren't any civilizations that would give us this. Interesting, but okay, it is what it is. We can't really change that. So we are jumping directly into our action phase. So we have 9 options. We have to take 1 action per turn, and then we have to pass if we are out of cubes. And before that, you are not allowed to pass, but usually there's not a reason to pass early, because there's always something that you can do. And in a solo game, you take your full round, and then we are handing things over to the iPlayer. Normally, again, players would be taking turns. Again, we have an awful lot of actions that we can take. The overview card tells me it's 9. So we could manufacture, we can develop, we can retrieve, we can scavenge, we can nominate, we can explore, all kinds of stuff. And of course, we want to look at our special ability here. And the Celestavis are explorers, it seems. So whenever we are exploring, we are getting 1 discovery token here. And discovery tokens can, first of all, we can flip them to, I believe, relics. Then they're basically a victory point at the end of the game. Or we can use them as some sort of a resource, as a currency in the game, to do all kinds of stuff. So exploring wouldn't be a bad thing to do, and there is 1 exploration marker here. The thing is, we are basically down to 1 cruiser, and in order to explore, we have to send one of our cruisers on a 5-year voyage, basically. So yeah, we have to get rid of it, and then we are allowed to do that. Oh no, we also have to have a requirement. We need some weapons, so we can't really do that, actually. And the best thing to get these shield icons is, yeah, to develop your technology, like a laser weapon, plasma weapon, or antimatter missile. Sounds good, right? So what are we going to do? Sorry, exploration is more or less out of the question, but I think on the other hand, we want to explore because, again, that's our special ability here. Okay, this has taken me a while, and I think I will start to colonize a planet, which we would be doing with this action here. It would cost us some money equal to the amount of colonized planets we already have. Right now that's 0, at least that's how I understand the rules. So the first planet is basically free. We have to look at our adaptation here again. So right now we can colonize Ice World. So let's go to Hoth. The next thing to check is to see if the planet is in reach. And right now everything is in reach that is either on the same galaxy tile as the little marker here, or basically before that. So right now it's only this one here. If we would later on move to this one here, then we could basically move to all the planets that are here or to the left. There is a technology, and yes, you guessed it right, warp drive here, which allows you to travel 1 system ahead. Nice to have, but I think right now not necessary, because we have an ice world right here. So we're taking one of our precious action cubes, placing it on top of it so it is in reach. It matches our adaptation. If it wouldn't match our adaptation, you could play one of your cards, your faction cards, for the one-time adaptation here to simply go for it. But then again, another valuable card would be out of your hand. Something, again, I believe you want to avoid as much as possible. But okay, we have more or less fulfilled all the requirements on this planet here. And now we are getting the reward, which in this case is one of these, information or whatever this was, research, and place it into our stockpile. Nicely done, but again, we have already done our very first action. And now that we do have a discovery, we can now invest into our technology by taking a research action. Again, we still have 2 more actions left. The bottom ones, you can more or less go there willy-nilly without any requirements. From there, you have to go 1 level up. So from the laser weapon, I can't branch out to the hyperspace scanner, but from the plasma, so I have to go from laser weapon to plasma weapon. From here, we could then branch out to xenology or to antimatter missile. The thing that you can also always do during your turn is to play a faction card, either as another main faction, and again you can have up to 3, and I think you should have 3 by the end of the game, I guess, at least, in order to gain all the benefits. You can play them for the adaptation. That's something I briefly explained. You get the one-time bonus down here. So if I want this 1 prestige point here, I can more or less discard this card as a free action during my turn to gain this prestige point. But there's definitely more to have down here. Here, for example, I could have 3 money. Here I could get another prestige point. This one is really cool. It would give me a free cruiser, but then again, one of our valuable cards is out. And again, as we are about to do a research action, we could look at the Zephyrion here, who are nice. They would help you to ignore any prerequisites, so you can more or less branch out anywhere you want. The problem with those guys is they also have an adaptation on an ice world, and you want, I think, at least different kind of adaptations to be able to take over or colonize different kind of planets. And I think right now there is no immediate need to do that. And I think one last thing that you can also do, you can play it as your major ideology. So if you want to override your current major ideology, or you don't have a major ideology because you have all 3 different icons, I could say I want the military ideology, and then you play it out, put it out in front of all the other civilizations. But you also do that once per game. Once you have decided for your major ideology this way, that's it. But yeah, I think right now it's not necessary. So let's stay on target. I want to develop laser weapons. Isn't that lovely? So therefore, I either have to spend $3. I think I don't want to do that. I will go for one of my discovery tokens here. I want to hold on to my money for now, at least I think. So now we have access to laser weapons, and from there we could then move up to the plasma weapon. Plasma weapon would give us 1 more productivity and 1 more shield. So these are cumulative. So that can be really, really nice. And the amount of these shield icons tell you how much of these cruisers you are allowed to hold on to at the end of each round. And this vertical line here is a little bit misleading because it's not an ore. You get both of those. If there is something like an ore, you would really see the ore down here. So in this xenology here, for example, you get the prestige points, and then you have to decide for either one of these relics, basically a victory point, or to influence, which is another currency in this game. Now that we are down to 1 action, we could now either debate on producing some more cruisers. We could now really go after this anomaly, and there is a reason to do that, because I happen to know that our AI friend might be able to discard one of those, and right now there is only 1 of these tokens out. There could be more here, but on this tile there aren't. And you see these placeholders here, they will only kick in if you're playing a 3-player game, obviously. So I think before I lose it, I will place my last action cube here on the anomaly, and we have to discard our 1 and only cruiser, and this allows us to explore 1 of those tiles. And keep in mind, now our special faction ability will kick in, so we are revealing this. It has to be in reach. It is in reach, so we are flipping this over. Wow, very, very nice. So in total we are getting 3 of these tokens, so that's nice. So we can develop technologies like crazy. 2 from the tile, 1 from our special faction ability, and 3 money is nothing to sneeze at either. So we are moving up to 8, and 12 is the total cap in this game for both productivity and money. You can't go beyond 12. Okie dokie, we are out of cubes, which is kind of a bummer, which means we have to pass. So now for the first time we have to look at our solo variant rule card here. So let's see. After you pass a round, draw and reveal 2 faction cards. Guided by the 2 cards, the virtual opponent will first colonize the leftmost planet that fit the adaptation of the cards. Okay, and execute effects according to the ideology symbol on the cards in reverse. The 2 cards revealed are resolved separately. Okay, let's do that. So the first card we are resolving is this one here. For this one, we are first of all looking at the adaptation. It's one of these desert worlds here. So they are taking this one over. Hooray! And then we are checking over the ideology here, which is, I believe, industrial. And this one says, okay, the opponent acquires the leftmost barren planet. And I think here we really dodged the bullet because there aren't any barren planets out here. Okay, I take that. Then we have to resolve the second card, unfortunately. So we are moving back here. So we are taking over this card. We don't have this kind of a world. Okay, I take it. And if this would have been occupied, then in this case they wouldn't be able to take it over either. There are other ways to take it over, but not through the colonization action. I take it. As for the ideology, we have science here, and this one says, yeah, they're acquiring 1 more of their ships. Okay, nothing I can do about it, but this also means they're protecting their planets. Much better now. Which means overall they're now at 3 of those. They start with 2, but as we don't have a war phase this round, nothing immediate to worry about. So as I said, we would now move into the war phase. We will skip that during the first round, and I think this is also true for the solo mode. So we are now going into the galactic phase. Move the galactic fleet and reveal 1 system card. We will move action cubes onto the trade cards. I believe that's not going to happen because only cubes from these boxes would move up here, and then they could trigger a golden age. So once these trade cards are full, we are gaining them back, which could be huge, of course. So we have more actions available for us for the next round to come. But yeah, in this case, that's not going to happen. And then, yeah, we reset the player sequence for the next round. But before we forget, let's reveal, or let's move our galactic fleet 1 step further. We are revealing the next card to come. We do have 1 exploration token here. We don't know what it is. And in order to get it, we have to, yeah, develop warp drive first. And yeah, we have 2 more planets. This is a barren planet now, actually. Interesting. Okay, let's start the next round of the game. We will go through our production phase. So we are taking 3 more action cubes. Absolutely. We will get 2 more things here. We will lose 1 more productivity. This is a concern. And then, yeah, we are still not activating any ongoing effects. So we are directly moving into the action phase. And I believe before I do anything, I want to play out another main faction here, the Ethiopian. We will place them right next to our other main faction, our starting main faction here. So we are now getting their debut bonus. First of all, we are getting this and that. So we're getting 1 more money, and they come with 1 more cruiser. I take it. And then they have this debut ability, the mind control. So when the first time you play them, you get this. So we are getting 1 influence. All the other players would lose 1 influence. So that's some kind of a waste. And they have an ongoing ability, basically. That's a free action, more or less. We can do that during our turn to get rid of 2 of these discovery and transform them into 1 relic. You might ask yourself, hey, isn't there another way to just flip them over? Yes, you do, but in this case, you have to, yeah, basically pay money to do that and an action. I think this can be a very, very strong combination between these 2, because for the exploration, we get to do this, and we can now use those discovery to transform them into victory points without spending any money. So I think overall that's not too bad. Okay, for our first action, I think it's really time to manufacture some more cruisers here. On the other hand, we could play this card out, and this would simply give us 1 of those for free. Also tempting, actually. The thing is, we don't really have any faction in our hand that comes with this nature symbol here. So I think we might not be able to go after this planet, but we still can do this or that. So we have 2 planets which we could take over this round. We have to pay a little bit for those, but I think we have to consider that, actually. So yeah, and I'm 100% certain I'm playing very, very poorly here. So first of all, we are going to manufacture. We have to place one of our action cubes into the action box, and this symbol tells me we can now take the according action as many times as we want and as we can afford. So I think in this case we are spending 4 coins for 2 cruisers. So let's do that, moving down to 7, and this gives us 2 more cruisers, so we can explore a little bit better next round, and I think, yeah, we can also defend much better. So yeah, I think I take that. It will also help us in the upcoming war phase, because the first thing that you do is to determine the overload by comparing the cruisers that you have. And then if we are tied, we are comparing our shield bonuses here. And I think, yeah, this is where we would be losing actually. So maybe we have to spend 2 more money. Let's do that. We are spending 2 more money for a 4th one. I don't want to lose against my opponent, because my opponent has all of the technologies unlocked basically, which means they have 4 of those shield symbols. Yeah, let's totally do that instead. Now that we are a tad broke, I think we have to change something about that. So for my next action, I will go to the Industrial Union, and here I can either spend 3 of my productivity and transform them into prestige. And again, prestige are direct victory points at the end of the game, and will also help us actually in scoring some more points if we want to stay at diplomacy as our major ideology. Right now that's not going to happen, but I think I want to do that. So we are spending 1 of our influence here, and you can only take this action once, and this iconography here is a little bit confusing. You might ask yourself, hey, isn't that the same symbol as this one? But it's not, because this is really an arrow that is completely touching each other. This not so much. It's basically a trade action. It's, yeah, not chosen wisely. Let's put it like this. But again, we have spent our influence, and this will increase our productivity, which means we are getting 3 more income next round. We are down to 1 action, and I think with our action I want to colonize another planet. We will take over the water world here, because again we have a new adaptation. We are allowed to do that, so we are placing our last cube onto this one. We have to spend 1 coin now, because we had 1 planet before, so this goes down once more, but as a reward we are gaining 1 influence and 1 discover here. I take it, and overall we have a good amount of resources here which we can use for all kinds of stuff. I was thinking about using this psychic resonance here, but I believe I don't really need to do that right now. This is something I can basically do towards more the end of the game. Right now there are resources I can use to whatever research new stuff and so on, and I have currently no immediate bonus for these relics. There might be other things where we could maybe trade them in with other trade cards or so. I don't really know, but again, right now there is no immediate need. But I believe this is the end of our action, or rather action phase. So let's reveal the next card. Okay, that is somewhat mean. Over our ice planet here. Are you kidding me? I officially hate you. And this symbol here, what I keep forgetting what those are. Okay, again, we are removing 1 of those. I have removed 1 of those, and oof, okay, this could have been a victory point, a relic, and 2 more discovery. This truly hurts, but we have 1 more to go. So this was already a pretty brutal card to start with, and this is a diplomacy one. Okay, they do take over another planet, so this could become dangerous for them, because they also have to protect those, so I can take things away. Right now they do have 3 ships, so nothing is lost, but when they get another planet they also have to make sure they're getting a cruiser to protect it, and I can take them away from them too. But yeah, for the ideology, and these are really cute, we have the diplomacy. The opponent acquires 2 of these influence, and after that, if the opponent has more than 2, it spends 3 to nominate. And again, nominate means they would be taking away seats in the Galactic Congress. For me, again, I could score an awful lot of points here, basically 10 points if I play my cards correctly. So far I'm very playing extremely poorly, but yeah, anyway. So I think overall we are still standing, which means we are moving into the war phase. Determine the overlord by comparing cruisers. We are the overlord. Nice, which means we are gaining the reward here respectively. Again, we are not tied. We have more cruisers than their players acquire corresponding rewards. Okay, we are a 2-player game, which means we are getting 1 money, and we just scored our very first prestige point. Hooray! But now the not so good news. We could now take over an unprotected planet. Again, right now all of their planets are protected. They have 3 planets and they have 3 of these cruisers, so everything is swell. That's kind of a bummer. But now for the hard part, and I believe that's the one piece again I have missed. We are now losing an awful lot of those. We are losing cruisers. Only keep a number equal to our measly laser weapons here. 3 of these cruisers are out of here. So right now we are not even able to protect our planets. We have 2 and we have 1 measly cruiser. That is brutal. Okay, then we are ending our war phase. We will move we are moving into the galactic phase. So the galactic fleet will move ahead. Over here we are revealing another one. Okay, and okay, there's no new exploration token here. That is really weird. So I'm not really making a lot out of my main faction here, but okay, this is what it is. Can't really change it. Then yeah, we are moving action cubes up. So this box goes to this card, this box goes to this card, and this here respectively. And this is where the randomization of, let's say, how you're bringing out those trade cards does matter to some extent. And again, if they are full in this phase, we would now bring all those cubes back to their respective players for their next round to come. And these are in addition to the 3 cubes that you are getting. So that can be huge. This one is simply discarded. Nothing to gain here. And I think maybe I should have done that already last round, but doesn't really matter. And I believe that's basically the end of the round and also the end of the video for today. I really want to give you some room to send in your suggestions, make me aware of any goofs I most certainly have made. And yes, absolutely send in your suggestions in respect to what you think I should be doing next. As you can clearly see, I have no clue what I'm doing here. I need all the help I can get here actually. So yeah, and then yeah, with my next video I should be more or less able to complete this session here, and then depending on your interest I might consider doing one of the other scenarios that are available. Just let me know. And yeah, before I forget, a huge shout out to all of my patrons and channel members. You guys are truly amazing. Can't tell you how much I appreciate all your support. So if you want to support my little channel, you will find a link to my page on Patreon. You can join me here directly on YouTube. There's a little join button. There's also a little thanks button below the video for a small or maybe not so small donation. Definitely like and subscribe and or leave a comment. This also greatly helps and is very, very appreciated. And yeah, with that being said, hope to see you soon in one of my other videos, and until then, bye bye.